In this bulletin, another confirmed COVID-19 case recorded. More community cases expected. And Lautoka funeral classified as a super spreader. And Runaka, Fiji. As you have heard, there is another positive case of COVID-19. With more cases being forecast, the Health Ministry is now upping the ante to fight the killer disease in Fiji. Pranita Prakash reports.
There are now 3 cases in the country.
None of the 69 primary contacts have tested positive for COVID-19 except for the hotel staff who worked as a maid and who contracted the virus while working in the quarantine facility. Only one of the 267 secondary contacts has tested positive so far. The daughter of the hotel staff, who together with the rest of her family, have been in quarantine since Sunday morning.
Dr. Fong also stresses that the first case, the soldier, remains in quarantine.
The soldier who tested positive over the weekend remains securely in border quarantine facility. He never left. He was identified as a positive case in quarantine, and he never entered public spaces.
He says the second and the third case have been the focus of contact tracing due to the extensive exposure with the public. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
The funeral service attended by the 53-year-old woman last week is branded as a potential super spreader of this recent COVID case. The funeral was held in Tavukumbu, Lautoka on Friday and Saturday last week. The woman traveled between Nandi and Lautoka, not knowing she had contracted the virus.
If you are at the funeral in Tavukumbu at Petheliema Church on Friday 16th April or Saturday 17th April and have not been contacted, please call 158. Please do it right now. And stay home until the Ministry of Health and Medical Service can check on you.
The Health Ministry expects more community cases of COVID-19 in the contained areas. Due to this, starting from tomorrow, movement will only be allowed for emergency purposes, employment and other essential services. Fijians in the Greater Nandi and Lautoka containment areas are advised to stay indoors and avoid unnecessary movement from tomorrow.
If you need to go outside, wear a mask. Keep your distance from others. Head straight home once you finished your work, shopping or accessing essential services.
This has prompted authorities to run 600 tests per day over the next 2 weeks at the minimum. Dr. Chemesa Tunrawu is urging people in these areas to provide accurate information if they are being interviewed by health officials.
The team is intensifying our surveillance and screening program, particularly in Lautoka. The team at Lautoka are putting together some 30-odd teams who will go out in the next few days and get to each and every family, every home, to try and undertake the surveillance and the screening program.
Dr. Fong says the ministry has been informed that some supermarkets are not following the COVID-19 safety measures, and those found guilty will be shut down. Jose Nanunga, FBC News. The Fiji Times newspaper has been once again accused of sensationalizing news which the Health Ministry says is wrong. This comes as the newspaper on its Facebook page yesterday published a headline that read, "Vaccine does not protect you from getting virus." Health Ministry Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says all information providers need to be careful and ensure do not publish misleading, unproven and false information. He says this was a reason a workshop was run to educate people on bad information, which the Fiji Times did not attend even though they were invited. Dr. Fong says the words of the newspaper could have deadly consequences.
The headline was wrong. It is contradicted by science, and many people will be swayed by it without ever reading the article.
Health services for patients needing immediate and ongoing treatment will continue to be provided. Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Chemesa Tunrawu highlighted this in light of the current COVID-19 situation. Lina Rees reports.
Dialysis patients around the Nandi and Lautoka containment areas can go through the border to access services.
We know them, we know their names, We've got their names in a list which has been given to the police team at the border. So all they need to do is to identify themselves at the border.
A team from the CWM hospital will also be deployed to provide services outside the containment areas.
So those who get sick or injured during this time need to access tertiary level care. They can either go to Singatoka Hospital, to Rakaraka Hospital.
Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says Fijians need to remain alert.
We need to recommit ourselves to these practices that have protected us until we can get herd immunity through the vaccines.
The Health Ministry is urging the public to continue to observe the COVID-19 safety measures to help contain the spread of the virus. Lena Rees, FBC News.
The Ministry of Health is reiterating that no one is completely vaccinated unless they have received the 2 AstraZeneca jabs. Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says the soldier and the 53-year-old woman who tested positive over the weekend received only 1 jab. Koroitan Dolala reports.
The soldier and the woman were waiting for the 10 to 12-week period to receive their second jab when they contracted the virus.
Again, I need everybody to understand. Neither this woman nor the soldier are vaccinated. Vaccinated means you have 2 doses. They have received 1 injection.
The 2 are part of the group of frontline workers who got vaccinated last month. Head of COVID-19 Vaccination Task Force, Dr. Rachel Devi, has on many occasions emphasized on the need for people to get their second jabs.
It's absolutely essential that apart from the first jab, and then absolutely essential that an individual gets the second jab, all other measures for COVID-19 continues.
24,000 AstraZeneca vaccines arrived in the country last night under the COVAX facility. The Ministry of Health is calling on all eligible Fijians to register for vaccination online at the earliest. Koroitan Dolala, FBC News.
A lot of villagers in Verata Tailevu are worried they might lose their ancestral land to climate change. Seawater is now reaching their doorsteps during high tide, and villagers say the risk during natural disasters increases further. This is the reality faced by Naloto villagers, and the situation is worsening day by day. Naloto Development Committee Chair Sitiveni Tavanga says tropical cyclones Yasa and Ana further worsen the village coastline.
I have been the Turangani Corona for the past 3 years, and looking back, I can say it is getting worse. I am worried about our children. Climate change is slowly eating up our coastal area.
Up ahead, upcoming Star Dreams Big. And long distance great teams up with youngster. Stay with us. Welcome back. National 7 squad member Sireli Mangala dreams of a long successful rugby career. The 21-year-old is a step towards his dream, making the national extended squad last year. He says he is keeping his options open.
It's a big thing for me as already said, as a young player going into the squad. For me, representing Fiji is one of the big things in my life. For me, I've been planning if I already said if a chance for me to switch to 15s, then maybe 15s.
Former Coca-Cola Games senior boys 1,500 meters champion Yashnil Karan has caught the attention of one of Fiji's long-distance great Israeli Naikel Kelvesi. Recently, Karan made Fiji's 3,000 meters all-time top 10 list after clocking an impressive electronic time of 9 minutes 0.02.72 seconds. The former Tailevu College student is trained by Naikel Kelvesi, and he has been pushing the youngster in the last few months. Karan says Naikel Kelvesi is a great coach.
Yashnil is a well-behaved kid, a well-behaved athlete. Through what we've been given about training, he's been a good listener, disciplined kid.
He's so fit. He's a coach in Fiji, some of the coaches they only train and the athletes, but this coach used to train with me as well.
The Nandrunga football side will be hungry for its first win when round 7 of the Digicel Premier League resumes. The Stallions are the only team in the DPL yet to register a win. Nandrunga is scheduled to face Navua next, and President Muhammad Ali says the team needs to lift its performance.
Again, work on our finishing. We had some good opportunities which we didn't make it, and we surely have to work hard on it. And come the next game against Navua, which we are treating as a very tough match, we'll prepare really hard for that match.
The women's rugby competition is expected to begin soon as the Fiji Rugby Union is close to securing sponsors. FRU had come to an agreement to have a separate Women's Skipper Cup competition. Venina Rakotong reports the competition may begin next month.
The FRU is making final preparations to not only start the competition, but also help develop it.
They want to also look at development teams and likewise link with the deans, with the secondary school competition. So discussions with the sponsor have been positive.
FRU Operations Officer Saleh Sorovaki says no changes will be made to the format of the women's competition.
The format will stay with last year's top 8, which means Lautoka and Nassau still stay up, and Northland and Namosi and Nandi also stay up in that competition. So with the Vanua, we'll go with the same format as last year.
While the World Cup has been moved, the FRU is hopeful the women's competition will help national players.
While we yet to announce the kick-off dates of the competition, we will be running club game competitions, so the competitions throughout Fiji.
The Fiji Under-15s is continuing with training sessions and camps to keep the players occupied before the start of their season. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
Cloudy periods and showers are in the forecast for today. Finer conditions will prevail from late afternoon. That's FBC Morning News. Join us at 7 p.m. for a major bulletin. For news you can trust, get the facts from FBC's TV, radio and digital news at fbcnews.com.fj. Take care and good morning.